anglers and explorers. My name is Lisa and I work with the International Game Fish Association. And today we are celebrating Earth Day by going fishing. Now, some may think that recreational fishing is not the most environmental or conservation-oriented activity, but it is if you are a responsible and ethical angler. And that is part of my job. I teach responsible ethical angling practices so that we all can be better anglers and better stewards of our environment in order to conserve our game fish and the game fish habitats for many, many years to come. Recreational fishing is a great way to get outside and explore aquatic habitats. So where are we fishing today? We are in a natural Everglades ecosystem called Pine Glades Natural Area in Palm Beach County. It is a freshwater ecosystem, so today we are targeting a very popular freshwater game fish, the largemouth bass. First, we have to rig our rods. Now, you can use natural baits like live worms to catch largemouth bass. Today, we are not using live worms, we're actually going to use artificial worms. Okay, so what we have to do now is just slide on the weight, and then we have to attach our hook. Now we want to attach our hook with a very strong fishing knot so that we don't lose our hook and our worm when the bass strikes. So I'm going to do the Palomar knot. The Palomar knot is a very, very strong fishing knot. But I have this huge tag end hanging right here. So all I do is just take my cutters and I cut that tag end off. But we do not throw our tag ends on the ground, okay? We never want to put our old fishing line on the ground because that makes an issue for other animals that could get entangled or possibly ingest some of this old fishing line. So as a responsible angler, I always bring a line recycling container with me and I just put that in there and there we go. I collect all my old fishing line with this. So I'm going to attach this worm weedless. So sometimes it takes a few tries, but you want that worm as straight as possible. So now that we rigged our worm, now we have to get it out there. So to make a cast, step 1, hold the line to the rod. Step 2, open the bail. Now step 3, when you bring it back, you have to look behind you for safety to make sure you're not going to hook anybody or anything too. So step 3, bring it back while I'm looking back there. And step 4, we're going to release it forward and let go of the line. Ready? Last step, I close this bail and then I reel in that worm. And that's how you make a cast. With artificial worms, you might have to cast quite a few times, but that's okay, you get your exercise that way. Ooh. Had a bite. When you cast, you want to cast closer to the vegetation because that's where bass are going to be going after those mosquito fish or going after other prey. They're kind of like a sit and wait predator. We're going to put our cast right by the vegetation and see if we can't get another bite. even though it's small, it is still a largemouth bass. And how we can tell is the dorsal fin right here, it's almost completely separated by a deep notch, okay? So my hands are wet, which takes off less slime of this fish, and I'm holding it horizontal. But catch and release only today, so we're going to release this one back and hopefully we can catch a bigger one. Let's take a dive underwater and check out what animals we can find. Here we see mosquito fish. This is a good prey for bass, but mosquito fish are good predators too. Mosquitoes lay their eggs in the water, so mosquito fish eat the mosquito larvae when they hatch out. So we love mosquito fish. This is called a food chain when one animal eats another. So it's important for these natural ecosystems to maintain a balance between predators and prey. If we have too many predators going after these mosquito fish, then the mosquito fish population goes down. And that causes an itchy situation for us because that means the mosquito population goes up because there's not many mosquito fish in the water eating the mosquito larvae. So as ethical anglers, it is very, very important we follow our fishing regulations. Because here in Florida, you'll notice that we do have regulations for native and non-native game fish. Here you find the largemouth bass, and it's in a group called black bass. Now, these black bass have a regulation, a bag limit of only 5 per day. You cannot go over 5. So if you catch a 6th one, you have to release it. If you notice over here, we have non-native, non-game fish. Okay, so that means they don't belong here in Florida. They did not originate here in Florida. They actually come from other places around the world. Fish like Mayan cichlids, Oscars, jaguar guapotes, they're not native. They don't belong here in Florida. And they're also not considered a game fish. So there's no bag limit. There's no fishing regulations for them because they actually want to encourage anglers to harvest these fish. Why? Because mosquito fish is one of their main prey as well. And so they actually compete with our largemouth bass. So as anglers, we can do our part in keeping a lot of those non-native fish so that they don't become too invasive and too competitive for our native species, causing our mosquito fish populations to go down. So we can even contribute to the balance of the ecosystem to make sure everything stays as natural and as balanced as possible in our aquatic habitats.
Here are other ways we can be responsible and ethical anglers. Leave your fishing spot cleaner than when you arrived. Use proper nets and equipment. Handle fish properly. Use circle hooks whenever you can. Practice catch and release. Use a dehooking tool whenever possible. Help stop the spread of invasive species. Respect all plant life and wildlife in the habitat. Respect all rules, regulations, and posted signage. Educate fellow anglers.
Thanks so much for joining me fishing today. We were able to catch and release one bass, and we did find a few other animals along the way. So I hope this Earth Day you get outside, you go exploring, and maybe you can do some fishing yourself. So hope to see you out there.